What's up, dude? Okay, so I always start with the resonant side first, aka the side that you don't hit. There's 5 lugs, so I've just sort of lined them up like in a diamond, I guess, pattern. So just line them up however many you have. If you have 6, do 3 and 3, 5, like so. We start by putting the head on. Real simple. As you go around, just make sure and try to keep these even with the head itself, so you don't have more tension on one side than the other. And now I'm gonna start with the top one here. Since it doesn't have a crissy-cross here, I'm literally just gonna finger tighten it. So I'm just gonna tighten it with my finger until it catches right there. And I'm just gonna go around and do the same thing with all the other ones. Yeah. Okay, so once they're caught, I'm gonna start with, it doesn't really matter, you just wanna make sure you go in a crisscross pattern if you can. But since I can't on this top lug, I'm just gonna start with it, and I'm going to turn it 3 times all the way around. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I want to try to follow that but do a crisscross here. So I'll go to this guy, start here. 1, 2, 3, over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You'll notice it's getting tight already here. Last one. And wherever it catches, just try to remember exactly where it's facing and do your rotation from that spot. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that should make it pretty tight. You want to go through, just make sure there's no ripples anywhere. Make sure it's even along the ridge here. And for good measure, you could go and do maybe another half a turn on each one, but we'll just leave it like that. Now we're gonna flip it over, try to keep it the same way. Now we're gonna do the batter side. Now the batter side is where it gets a little bit trickier, because what I want to do here, I have a Remo head. As you can see, it's beat all to hell, but I'll use it. Same thing, try to get it even along the ridge best you can. Okay, get those all evened up. Now, same thing in terms of finger tighten. Doesn't matter where you start, just go around until it catches. Now this one works, this technique works especially good on stock heads. I tuned this one a little bit differently, the Remo Emperor series, but the ones that are on your set now, that your set came with, you can use this method and it'll get it sounding decent. So what you're going to want to do after they're all finger tightened, okay, good. Literally what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my hand just in the center and push just a little bit until I see, you're going to see ripples all along. Okay, now don't push too hard, obviously, just enough pressure to make sure you got ripples coming all along each of the ridges here, okay? Try to get it in the dead center as well. I try to line my middle finger up with this guy, but depends how many lugs you have. So as you're pressing on that, start with one. And literally what we're gonna do is you can count your turns, like that would be 1, that would be 2. But what I just do on the stock heads is just go around in the crisscross pattern and just try to get those ripples out. I've seen some that say it doesn't matter if you just go around or if you zigzag it. I usually just zigzag it, so, but again, all we're really wanting to do, and make sure you keep pressing down, is just tighten until there's still some ripple there, until you can rub your finger on it and there's no more ripple. Maybe a little tiny bit more here. Okay, ripple's gone on that. I'm just gonna move. This will be tricky. Usually these bottom two are going to be what control your tone. If, say, you were hitting in the center here where my hand is. So these are where you're going to really be able to get some flexibility out of whether you want sort of like a low tone, low resonant, or if you want more of a like a high pitch or whatever sound. But for this, we're just trying to get it in basic tune. So, oh, actually, I was over here. A little bit of a ripple. Okay, ripple's gone. So we'll go to this guy. And it might take you less turns as you go along as well, obviously, because of the tension that's already been applied on these guys here. A little bit of a ripple. Again, the ripple you're looking for is just along the ridge. Don't worry about the middle. We'll do that after we're done. Okay, that's out. Again, I haven't let go here. I'm still applying the same amount of pressure. And I'm not really counting my turns anymore either. But I'm definitely starting to notice the ripples disappearing. A little bit more of a ripple. Okay. Now, as you can see, I have a little bit of ripplage going on right here in the center. You can keep that if you want kind of a lower tone. I like to keep mine a little bit higher on the pitch. These guys, these top three on my particular drum, are the ones I'm going to use for pitch. If you have 6, then it's going to be the top 4, or yeah, 4, 2. But I'm going to start with this guy and just tighten it just a little bit. What I want to do is just try to reduce the amount of ripple I have here. It's not going to go completely away, and you don't want it to. So start with that. Okay, then I'm going to move on to the other top. Okay, a little more ripple. Going on. Okay, so I still have a little bit of ripplage. My new word. Tighten that guy up. Okay, so I barely have a ripple going on here. If you have too much, it's real easy to get your stick, obviously, through that. This one is a double-coated head for the sake of using what you have on your set. It's going to be probably just the single ply, you know, real basic. It's going to be very similar to the resonant head that you saw on this one. So if that's the case, try to get this middle ripple out as much as you can without over tightening it. And again, you want a little bit of a ripple going on here in the center, but not too much. So I'm kind of just doing, if it's tight, these ones should be pretty tight. That guy needs a little more. Okay, but these low two here, control the tone, still have a little more room to go. And they're not all gonna be even in tension, and that's fine. Okay, now as you can see, that ripple is almost completely gone. Now, I don't have a drumstick. That would have been smart. I have this little toy one here. Oh, how about that? So we can test it now. As you can see, that's a very high tone, right? So if I wanted to go a little lower, first thing I would do is I would start with these two and loosen them up just a tiny bit, maybe a quarter of a turn each. Okay. It's obviously going to bring back a little bit of that ripple there in the middle. Okay, see the tone went down just a little bit. But then I'm going to kick it over to the resonant head. And what I like to do is go opposite. So since I went these bottom two lugs to loosen for that tone or whatever, since I'm getting such a high frequency on the side, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna go to these two and I'm gonna just loosen them a tiny bit. Like same thing, maybe a quarter of a turn. Okay. All right, so these are definitely tighter. All right, let's see what I got here. Forgive the audio quality and the fact, obviously, the stick's not gonna help a lot here. Right, so we've still got it pretty tight. Now you can start playing around with it. Obviously, we know we have a high pitch, and a lot of that's coming from the resonant head, so since it's sort of tabletop tight there, that's probably where I'd start. But for the sake of being with the video or whatever, I'd kind of go a little more on the top here, loosen just a tiny bit. Obviously this top one here has a lot of tension on it. I think these two are good. And then go a little bit on these guys here too. You just want to make sure you don't get any ripples. That's what creates that dead sound. More. This is the side that you really want to play the most around with when you're getting that flat sound or you're getting too high of a pitch. Most people think it's the other side, it's the batter side, but honestly it's this one that controls that pitch. The other one's gonna, like I said, the batter side's gonna control most of your tone. This is a little bit better. Good luck.